Well, I was working for a small insurance brokerage 2.5 days a week, and we were located over on Reserve Avenue. I had left the post office a couple years before because we had adopted a child, and there was a friend from the post office that we agreed when I left that we would meet regularly to stay in touch, and so we were going to go to lunch on that fateful day. And we always met at S&S Cafeteria, which was kind of an easy access place for both of us. And so she had called me, I guess a little before 11 o'clock, and said, "Hey, it's raining hard. Do we really want to go to lunch today?" And so we decided we would postpone lunch that day. And so I went back to my desk, and there were probably maybe five of us working on that particular day in our office, some others in the other part of the building. This was the Hamlet Company's building that was attached to the side of Moore's Superstores at the time. So when we decided not to go to lunch, I went back to my desk, and all of a sudden somebody came running down the hall and said, "The river is coming down the street." And I thought, that's not a big deal. We'll just drive out it, Well, I went to the door and looked out, and sure enough, it was the river coming down to the street. And by then, just within a 30-minute period of time of looking out the door, decided not to go to lunch, and then this call that there was the river coming down the street. The river really was rushing down the street, and by then the water was about up to the bottom of the tires on our cars. And so there was really no driving out of the building that day, and with what was I'm not sure of the decision makers what was going through their minds, but I'm sure it was how to get us out of that building. So what they finally ended up doing was there was a big lumber truck with Moores. They backed it up to the porch on the building and put pieces of lumber across there. So here about 20 people were walking up these pieces of lumber, sitting on top of the truck, the bed of this truck that was piled high with lumber in the middle of the pouring rain. And that's how we went out of that building. So when we left, the water was pretty much up to the bottom of our cars, to the tires. And then so we started down Reserve Avenue towards Franklin Road, and we took a left there going over the bridge. And at that time, the only way you knew there was a bridge there was you could see the tops of the railings. So we went on out Franklin Road, and the owner of our business lived in a home on top of Peakwood Drive. So there we all went on top of that lumber in the pouring rain, and the truck took us up to Peakwood Drive, and where we could dry out and try to reach our families, which was a challenge in itself because we didn't have cell phones like we do today in that time. So tracking down, my husband worked for Nabisco at the time and was out and about, so I really could not get in touch with him, but I was able to get my father. And our home was near Bonsack, but he finally figured out a way and a meeting location, so we ended up meeting at Hills out at Cave Spring Corners, the old Hills. And that's how I was able to connect with somebody. So that's how they got us out of the building that day. Well, what we later found out, once the waters receded and we were able to take a look at the offices, there was 6 feet of water in those offices. So we were very fortunate to get out of the offices.